What's up, everyone? I am Wink, and this is Scream Cheese. Today, we'll be talking about Bloodline Killer, directed by Ant Novakovic and starring Shawnee Smith, Taryn Manning, and Drew Moreline. Bloodline Killer is a terrifying horror thriller that follows Moira Cole, who endeavors to rebuild her shattered life after the murder of her family at the hands of her deranged and obsessed cousin. Kills didn't check out this movie. He will be back on the next review. So Bloodline Killer is a movie that I didn't really hear anything about. I was just looking up to see if any new horror was coming out last weekend. This was one of them. And so I went ahead and I bought it on Amazon and checked it out. One of the cool things about it is not only does it star Shawnee Smith, but she's actually also a producer on it. I don't know if she set out to produce this film or if that was part of negotiating her onto the film. It feels like that might be the case, that maybe this wasn't a film that she was actually producing, but who knows? In any case, when I started this film, I had no expectations, and the first scene played out really well. It's like kind of tense, it's a little bit scary. It's between a father and an adult son on Halloween night as they're like handing out candy to trick-or-treaters. So in this, we get like a little fake scare, and then we are introduced to the Bloodline Killer right in the first couple minutes of the movie, and carnage begins. So this scene felt really cool. It felt like we might be getting into a really cool indie horror film. Everything looks good, the acting's solid. Then we got a credit sequence which sought to fill in through like newspaper clippings a lot of exposition. We're seeing that something with the Bloodline Killer, he's dressed with like a skull, he's got this metallic skull mask, he's like the skeleton killer, and we know that he is killed in like the 80s. He killed people in his family, presumably, went to the mental institution or into prison. I'm not sure. I didn't read all the headlines. The clips were going by too quick. And then Hollywood started making movies surrounding the people involved in this, including Shawnee Smith's character Moira, who shot the skeleton mask killer at the end of this sequence right before the credits. But he's gotten away. It kind of falls apart from there. So I'll tell you right off, this movie is shot great. The actors are good. It looks good. If you were to turn the sound off and watch this, you'd think, I'm just watching a normal, serious film. But the problem in this film lies in the script. Once you start hearing the dialogue, you lose every bit of credibility that this movie has in its look. The story feels like a bastardized version of Scream and maybe Halloween, which for me, that sounds awesome. Like, I've seen plenty of movies steal from these movies and make something at least fun to watch. But this movie is riddled with cliches and like logical inconsistencies and just problems beyond my suspension of disbelief. And I watched some stuff where you really, really need to suspend your disbelief. So I'm going to talk about problems with the script. This is going to be a little bit spoilery. I would urge you to check out this movie. I will tell you straight up, I don't think the movie's very good, but I'd love you to be the judge of it. Indie movies like these really need a lot of support to get going, and who's to say that my stupid opinion really matters all that much? But if you've already seen the film and you're coming here to figure out if you're crazy or if this movie was crazy, then hang out with me while we talk about a couple pieces of the script here. The main plot of the film is just this Bloodline Killer is an escaped killer and he's killing people, and you have Shawnee Smith, who's related to him, telling the cops, guys, I think it's my cousin, the skeleton, the Bloodline Killer. And they're all going, no, it can't be. You're out of your mind. It can't be that. What world are we in where we're all aware that there is an escaped killer on the loose who is related to these people, who has attacked these people, but it can't be them? It's insane. It's almost maddening. It's such a tropey idea to not believe your main protagonist who knows what's happening. It is kind of maddening in other films, but you understand why. Like the cops, generally in other films, they don't have enough information or evidence to believe the protagonist. In this film, there's an escaped killer on the loose that we're all aware of. That's probably the person killing everyone. No? So throughout the film, there are detectives that are on this case. And there is the stupid cliche of like a new detective taking over the case to like get the job done. Except it happens like, I don't know, 70%, maybe 80% into the film, And that cop doesn't offer anything that the other detectives didn't offer. It's like, why do we even introduce this other character? We're given insights into Shawnee Smith's past that make us wonder what exactly happened between her cousin and her. Like, we get maybe the broad strokes, but it seems like maybe she kind of is a bad character. I'm assuming maybe she wanted her father to be killed and he did kill her father, but we're never given any reason why or explained for sure. And then also in like these flashback sequences, we see that her cousin that she's with has a little sister who is now grown up and has become a character in this film that she sees, yet she has no idea who this person is. This is your cousin. It's your cousin's sister. You are all in a scene together in a flashback. Unless I'm misunderstanding something, which I absolutely could be, but like I'm pretty bright. I think that maybe the people producing this film might be at fault, if I am mistaken. Our group of like protagonists at the end of the film fall through a window. They push the skeleton through a window and they all fall onto the ground, and the window is on the first floor. They fall 5 feet onto the ground. They just tip over in a pile and they all get knocked out cold from it. The only one that wakes up is the skeleton, the bloodline killer. And what does he do? There's 4 people on the ground. 3 are his family members. 1 he's not related to, not yet anyway. And what does he do? The bloodline killer kills the 1 person that's not in his bloodline. Absolutely insane. So anyway, the biggest problem with this movie is the script, and it's just so hard to look past it. And in fact, you have so many good actors in this movie, and it just doesn't matter. Like, Shawnee Smith pours her heart into this performance where she's crying and screaming, and it's like laughable because in the context of something that makes no sense, in the midst of nonsense, screaming just comes off as being cringy. So not even good actors could save what is just a terrible, terrible script. I want to be more positive about it, but it's so hard to be. This film is actually maddening. There's actually so many things in between that were so difficult to deal with. The film is just really, really frustrating. And then what's like kind of even more frustrating is going on to IMDb. If you look, this thing right now has a rating of 7.1 with actually a couple hundred ratings, which is just absolutely impossible. It's just not that good a film. There are much better films that in their first few days have worse scores. It's just obvious that they either bought scores or they have a lot of people who are weighing it. And for a film like this, it doesn't feel like it's popular enough that enough people are going to watch it and rate it to even knock that score to look like it probably should look. I understand it. You want your film to have a good rating because you want people to watch it, but it is at 7.1. It's very misleading. I am going to give the film, I'm going to give the film a 4. And I don't even think it actually deserves that. But because they obviously tried, somebody cares about this thing, it doesn't deserve to be dogged on like absolutely terribly, but it is an infuriating film. Let me know if you have seen Bloodline Killer. Am I insane, or was this movie actually this frustrating? Am I losing my cool for no good reason, or is this all justified? Let me know in the comments section below. Also, let me know of any other horror movies that I should check out, and we will see you next time. Peace out, cheesers.